Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel Teaching Learning with Purnima once again. And today we will learn the chapter From the Diary of Anne Frank, which is obviously written by Anne Frank. So let's begin. Before we begin, let me tell you some important facts about the book, as this chapter is taken from The Diary of a Young Girl. This is also known as The Diary of Anne Frank, and it is celebrated as Anne's autobiography. This is the one and only book written by Anne Frank because this was published after her death. It was originally written in Dutch language. This book describes her difficult life while she was in hiding for 2 years with her family during the Nazi occupation of Netherlands. They lived such a difficult and traumatic life. They were in hiding. They could not do many things because they could not make any sound. They could not flush during daytime. They could not celebrate festivals. They could not celebrate their birthdays. And when they were sick, they could not even call doctors. Even if the doctors were called, they could not be given certain medications. So it was such horrible life. In this book, she talks about her relations with her family, mother, father, sister, and other relations, her friends, her class friends. She also talks how she grew mature from being an immature and irritated teenager. She grew into a mature human being. She started understanding the gravity of war. She started understanding the feelings of people. She started understanding how people of Netherlands supported them, how they expressed their protest for the World War, for Nazi occupation. And she started feeling good about the people. While earlier she felt that nobody understands her. She also improved her relations with her family. She talked about her interests. She talked how she wanted to be a journalist. Later, she wanted to become an author. And she also talked about her love for reading books and writing. Her desire of becoming an author was fulfilled by her father after publishing this book. Anne Frank died of typhoid, in Bergen-Belsen concentration camp in 1945. This diary was retrieved by Miep Gies or kept safely with her. She was her friend, Anne Frank's friend, and it was given to Anne Frank's father, Otto Frank. He was the only survivor from the family. And after the World War was over, this diary was published. It was first published under the title Het Etcherhuis. The meaning of this word is the secret annex. And it was published in Amsterdam in 1947. This diary received widespread critical and popular attention when it was published in English. The title of English translation was Anne Frank, The Diary of a Young Girl in 1952. Everybody liked it. Everybody wanted to read it because it was an important historical document about the life of Jewish family, how they were forced to live in hiding, how the people, Jews, were treated during Nazi occupation. After that, it has been published in more than 60 languages because everybody wanted to read it. It was also adapted as plays, films, operas. Since I told you this is an important historical document, let's know some historical background also. This diary was written in the backdrop of World War II. As you all know, during Nazi occupation of the Netherlands, earlier it was known as Holland. Anne Frank received this diary as her birthday present from her father on 12 June 1942. It was her 13th birthday. This red checkered autograph book was actually chosen or selected by Anne herself for her birthday present while she was browsing a bookstore along with her father On 5th July 1942, Anne's older sister, Margaret, received an official summon, a call from office, a call from government, German government, to report to Nazi work camp in Germany, because they got to know that this is the Jewish family living in Amsterdam. That is why they were asked to report to Nazi work camp. And nobody wanted to go there because they knew if they went there, they would never come back. That is why on 6th July, the family went in hiding. They were later joined by Otto's business partner, Dussel van Den's family. Dussel van Den was business partner of Otto Frank, and they also joined them because they also wanted to be in hiding. There was a threat to their life also. But this name, Vanden, was changed knowingly in order to avoid controversy. They were actually the Van Pelses, and their name was mentioned as Venden. Along with this, many other changes were also done. Even the language was polished and it was made little formal because this was supposed to be published. Their hiding place was in sealed off upper rooms of the annex at the back of Otto's company building in Amsterdam. It was annex part, the store part, or we can say the warehouse sort of place of the company building where all the things were kept and people didn't visit there, and that is why they remain hidden there for 2 years and 1 month. In August 1944, they were betrayed by some people. People got to know about Jewish families are living in hiding, and they reported. They were discovered and they were deported to Nazi concentration camp. Only Otto Frank survived the war. Anne was 15 years old, and that time she died of typhus in concentration camp. A few weeks before, the prisoners were liberated by British troops on 15th April 1945. Her father, Otto Frank, got it published because he thought that it is something very important and everybody must know about their miserable life which they were forced to live. And later on, this diary became an important historical record of life of a Jewish family under Nazi occupation. Now let's see the detailed summary of the chapter. This chapter, as I have already told you, is an extract, is a small part from Anne Frank's diary, Diary of a Young Girl. And in this chapter, Anne Frank tells about the early days of her life, how she was born, how she went to school, how she went from Germany, Frankfurt to Amsterdam, Netherlands. This chapter tells Anne Frank's views on friendship, about her friends, about her classmates and her relations with them, studies and teachers also. She was born on 12 June 1929. She had a sister 3 years older to her. Sister's name was Margaret Frank, and she lived in Frankfurt, Germany until she was 4 years old. Later on, her father emigrated to Holland in 1933, and after few months, next year in February, Anne Frank also joined them in Holland, Netherlands. She was sent to Montessori school there. Anne had no one in whom she could confide the feelings of her heart. She felt that she is alone in this big world. Though there are so many people in the family and friends, but there was not a single one with whom she can share the feelings of her heart, her expressions, her experience. That is why she decided to make her diary, which was her birthday present, as her friend. And she started talking to that diary. She called her diary Kitty. She felt that paper has more patience than people. You can go on writing paper, you can go on talking to paper. Paper will never say stop, I'm not interested. Paper will never judge you. Paper will never criticize you. That is why Anne Frank wanted to write diary. If she's talking about her family and friends, then people should know who is who. That is why she thought to give introduction. She talked about her father as the most adorable father in the world. She also talked about her mother, Edith Hollander Frank, and her sister, elder sister, Margaret Frank. She specially mentioned her grandmother, whom she loved fondly. She spent a lot of time with her when she was away from her parents, and she missed her greatly after her death. She also told that a special candle was lit on her birthday in memory of her grandmother. She talked about Mrs. Cooper's, the headmistress, whom she loved greatly and admired also. They had heartbreaking farewell when Anne Frank moved to upper grade. On 20th June 1942, Anne Frank made her first entry in the diary. It was in form of a letter, or I would say a talk, as if she is talking to her friend. It was addressed to her diary as Kitty. Anne Frank describes her experiences with her class. She said there are 30 children whom she can call her friends. They were her classmates. She also talked about her girlfriends who were good in studies, because she said that all my friends who are girls, they would pass easily. She also talked about her mathematics teacher, Mr. Keesing. She talked about the day when the result was being announced in a meeting. Everyone was anxious. Everyone was scared actually, because everyone was worried whether they will pass or not. Boys were making bets about who all were going to pass or who would be detained in the same class. As per Anne Frank's opinion, half of her class were dummies, dumb people, not very intelligent. And a quarter of them, 25% of them, should be detained. They should not be promoted to next class. When she thought about the teachers, she said teachers are the most unpredictable creatures on earth, because they can pass even the dumb children, and they can forgive even the most indisciplined child. And giving an example, she narrated an episode with her mathematics teacher, Mr. Keesing, who was annoyed with her habit of talking continuously in class. Mr. Keesing wanted silence. Children should pay attention in his class, and that is why he asked everybody to be quiet. But Anne Frank talked too much. One day, Mr. Keesing was so much annoyed that he punished her, and he gave her an extra homework for talking in class and asked her to write an essay on a chatterbox. Anne wrote, giving brilliant arguments, convincing arguments, because she took it as a challenge. She didn't just want to complete her assignment. She wanted to prove why she talked. She told it's a trait of student. A student has to talk. And she also told that she inherited this habit of talking from her mother. And one cannot do much about inherited traits. We can't help them. We can't control them. Though she promised that she would try to keep this habit in control. But she could not control. She again talked in class, and Mr. Keesing again asked her to write another essay on the same topic, but with different title, An Incorrigible Chatterbox. Incorrigible means the one who cannot be corrected. And wrote another essay giving better arguments, and Mr. Keesing liked all her essays. But Mr. Keesing could not tolerate habit of talking for longer. That is why he again asked her to write one more essay on the same topic, but the title was very unusual. Quack, 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 said Mistress Chatterbox. So the topic is same chatterbox, but the title is so unusual and funny. That is why everybody laughed so loudly in class. There was a thunder of laughter. Anne wrote this essay in form of a poem with the help of her friend Sen. Earlier she was confused what to write because she has used all her arguments in her previous essays. And now she was thinking what to do. But her friend advised her to write entire essay in poetic form, in form of a poem. And she composed the poem. It was a story about a mother duck and a father swan who bit the three ducklings to death because they quacked too much. This was actually a satire on Mr. Keesing because Mr. Keesing was also so much annoyed that he is after N. Frank. That is why she compared Mr. Keesing to Father Swan, who bit his three ducklings. But Mr. Keesing was remarkable personality. He took the joke in the right way and he laughed wholeheartedly. Even he read the poem to the class and other classes, appreciating the poem and laughing with the class now, and he also allowed N to talk. Here we can draw a character sketch of Mr. Keesing, that he was a remarkable personality. When he was strict, he was very strict as a mathematics teacher. When he wanted silence, he was strict. But when he wanted to appreciate something, he did not kept himself back. He didn't keep any grudges against anyone, against N, though he was very much annoyed. But he laughed when he liked something and he appreciated when he liked something. So that was something amazing about Mr. Keesing. Now let's see some important question answers. Was Anne right when she said the world may not be interested in the musings of a 13-year-old girl? As a teenager, anyone can feel that the world is not interested in the musings of a 13-year-old child. But N was proved wrong because everybody showed interest, everybody read the book, and it was one of the best sellers. Even her father gave lot of importance to her diary and he got it published. N says the teachers are most unpredictable. And is Mr. Keesing unpredictable? How? We have already discussed how Mr. Keesing behaved in an unpredictable manner after reading the essays. He actually appreciated, though he was annoyed. It felt as if he is after N. But when he liked her essays, he appreciated, he started laughing, he started making jokes. So I hope you have understood the chapter. Thank you. Keep learning with me. Keep watching my channel. If you have any confusion or any doubts, you can ask in the comment box. Thank you. Bye-bye. All the best.